readings. So this is how we're going to break down the astrology. I am going to go day by day first. I am not going to highlight the major aspects of this week. We'll get through the whole week first and just those kind of, conversations in between the major aspects. And then we will head into our our four big aspects this week, which is Jupiter's ingress into Taurus, Taurus new moon, Mars in Leo, and the sun in Gemini. And that's how we will kind of go through and get little individual readings for each one. All right. Like I said, I'd already started pulling cards, so let me tell you what is on the board. We have the Knight of Pentacles, already here, already primed. Out came the Sun and the Two of Pentacles. So if we look, this is kind of the energy leading us into this week. Yeah, I love this energy. This is some great energy right here. So let's talk about when these cards came out. So on the 16th, Jupiter ingresses into Taurus. That is Tuesday. We're going to leave that one for the end. On the 17th, Jupiter, now in Taurus, immediately squares Pluto retrograde in Aquarius at 0 degrees, 18 minutes. We're going to talk about Pluto here too, because Pluto's got this gigantic role that he's playing throughout the rest of this year, and then obviously in his transit in Aquarius. So Jupiter ingresses, immediately squares Pluto in retrograde, and that is where this Knight of Pentacles came from. So as Jupiter has been moving through Aries, he's went through Aries incredibly quickly. And Jupiter in Aries was setting out your new world. It was raising it all down. It was burning it to the ground, and it was expanding into what this new world was actually going to be, what his transit in Taurus, what he is going to bring in that stability, in the pentacle things of life, the Taurian things of life. So I love that the Knight of Pentacles came out immediately when we were talking about this aspect with Jupiter squaring Pluto retrograde, because it is this question that Pluto is asking Taurus before he can even get into Taurus and get comfortable is, what are you going to do in your new world? In this new world, because it's not just about, here comes the Two of Pentacles, it's not just about your world. Yes, this is your universe. You are creating your universe, but guess what? You are also creating your universe amongst everybody else's universe. So how are you creating this? How do they intersect? How do you find this balance right here between these two worlds? It's a square off, right? How do you find the beauty, the sun, the abundance? How do you find the gifts that Jupiter is bringing in amongst the square off between this, and I'm going to go back to the Two of Pentacles, between complexity and simplicity? Complex is Aquarius. Aquarius is a complex sign. It is complex in many, many ways, right? And then we have Taurus, which is all about the simplicity, bringing it back down to earth. Be willing to be unconventional in your simplicity. Opposites really do attract, right? We can hold two opposite things to be true at the same time. That's fine. It's okay to be toggling between, okay, it needs to be a little more complex than that, but I still want to keep it simple. Like, I don't want to blow it out of proportion, as Jupiter can just come in and just make everything bigger. And that's why I love that this square is happening right away, because it's that check. Hey, Jupiter, don't just get up into Taurus and just expand. That's not what we need you to do, right? This Knight is going on campaign. He doesn't need you to make things so huge that he can't see and can't navigate them. Own your quirks. Own what makes you you. Own what makes you unique and special. And you don't have to do it the same. That's the great part about this, is none of this has to be the same as you've done it before. None of it has to be the same as others are doing it. That's exactly how it's designed. We don't need to do things the same. This is a 0 degree point as well. So Jupiter squaring Pluto in Aquarius, it is 0 degrees. That means this ain't action time. 0 degrees is an initiation. This is all about our thoughts. It's all about the assessment. It's all about the mental action right now because Pluto, excuse me, is the bigger energy in Aquarius. It is mental versus physical. Now Jupiter is going to take everything in Taurus and he's going to create that action. But at this moment on the 17th, when he squares Pluto, think about it. It's like, for everybody out there, that happy Mother's Day. By the way, if you are in America, it is Mother's Day today. For all of the mothers that are out there, the high priestess, look at that. The mamas and the high priestess. There we go. For everybody that has been pregnant, this is like knowing that moment of knowing you're like, the baby's coming. The baby is totally coming. But your water hasn't broken yet. Your contractions haven't started yet, but you just have this inner intuition with the high priestess, the inner knowing that the baby is coming. That's what this moment is. That's what this moment is with Pluto squaring up with Jupiter, getting into Taurus at exactly this 0 degree, 18-minute point on the 17th. So this is the energy, Jupiter gets into Taurus, which in itself is a wonderful, abundant energy. We're going to do a reading about it. But it's that immediate, oh, Pluto's going to check you. Hold on, Jupiter, you can't do your work yet. We got to have a conversation. And then on the 18th, let me put these back. On the 18th, the sun in Taurus will sextile Neptune in Pisces at 27 degrees, 11 minutes. And this is where, with this conversation with Jupiter and Pluto in Aquarius, and then the new moon coming up, and we're going to talk about the grand fixed square here, the grand fixed cross here in a moment. This is all kind of, it's this moment of check-in of how have you grown? How has your self grown? How has your self grown? Because the sun transited through Aries. So through Aries season, what did you do there? Right? It's this check-in. It's this intuitive check-in with yourself about how have you grown through Aries? How have you grown through Taurus, right? The world. How has your world changed? How has your spiritual self grown? King of Cups. How have these things changed you? How have these things given you a deeper sense of perspective about yourself, about what you're doing in the world, about how you show up, and what are the next things that you need to work on? What are the next things that you got to do? Because there's a lot coming up. There's a lot that's still shaking and moving. Eclipse season we've got a whole other transiting eclipse in October, and then we get into a brand new nodal shift. We have a new access point, Aries and Libra. So what are the next things? What's the next piece of work? My therapist tells me that every time we meet. So what is your next piece of personal development? Question asked. And it really sucks to sit there and go, I haven't thought about it. I don't know. Trust me, I know, because I've done that before. Oh, okay. I need to come prepared then. And that's what this Sun, Taurus, sextile, Neptune, and Pisces, it could be something that you just intuitively feel. You intuitively know, right? Especially with the world here. You intuitively know what you need to do next. You know how your world's changing. Look, you're just floating here, floating in the world, allowing things to happen as they happen. Allowing as the world changes for you to ebb and flow within them. And then on the 19th, so day after, we have the Taurus moon. And I believe the 19th is Friday. I have that right? Yeah, that's Friday. So on Friday, we have the Taurus new moon. And we'll talk all about that here in a minute. But the next thing up on the 19th. So I'm not sure if this happens before the new moon. Obviously, it's going to be activated all day, but Mercury in Taurus, which by the way, no longer retrograde, still in his shadow though, as obviously you could tell today, will sextile Saturn in Pisces at 6 degrees, 30 minutes. So I had this whole conversation with myself as I was thinking through all of these energies this week. And the conversation went like this. What the fuck has Saturn been doing in Pisces? Like, I know what Saturn was doing over the last, 20, so 3-4+ years. I know the huge influence he played. And I know that Saturn going into Pisces is a massive deal. His co-presence with Neptune, we haven't even begun to scratch that surface yet. This co-presence with Neptune is like a 6-year transit. And it's only going to keep building. And Saturn, to me, I really felt this energy is like Saturn's been trying to find his place in this kind of, okay, what am I supposed to be doing here? All right, let me take assessment. Let me take stock of everything. Yes, there have been some astrology, some like world events that kind of align with Saturn and Pisces. But I really got this feeling like he's a hermit or a hanged man right now. If you're going to relate it to the tarot, like it's just really this moment of, all right, I did all the necessary work that I needed to do. Let's see what just popped out here. We have the Judgment, the Six of Pentacles, which continues to just show its face, and the Knight of Wands. Yeah, it's almost like Saturn done his fucking work, right? He's like, look, I've been in my home signs for like ever. I'm good. I had a big role to play. I fucking fulfilled that role. I did it. I did the damn thing. I did the damn thing when I was in Capricorn, when I was in Aquarius. And now that I'm here in Pisces, we're going to take stock. I'm going to take a moment, to get balanced. I'm going to take a moment to really find my footing, really find out where I'm at. But this could be the first time we get a glimpse into what he's doing now that he's got Mercury in Taurus, kind of giving him that warm welcome, like, hey, hi, I'm wondering what you're doing with all of that. I need to know, I need your help. I need to set some boundaries around this. I need you to let me coax you out of the water. Let me bring you back on land. Let me get some sun on your face. Let's get some air to breathe. Let's get some air to breathe up in here, Saturn. Like, let's put some things down for you as you continue to do what you're doing. And I really think, because we'll talk about that Taurus new moon, there's a lot that Saturn can help us with. And Jupiter headed into Taurus, which I'll talk about as well, is really, I think, going to help Saturn. I think he's going to really provide all sextiles, right? So I think he's going to really provide a beautiful support to Saturn as Saturn finds that footing and gets closer and closer to his conjunction with Neptune. Again, I like that Saturn's in this hermit hanged man mode, at least in my energetic realm. That's how I'm reading it, because again, he's done a lot of work. Like, let him get his footing, let him get where he's at, so that way he can make the work that he's going to be doing with Neptune over the next 6 years massively impactful in the highest way possible. Then on the 20th, Mars ingresses into Leo, and we will talk about that as well. And of course, what happens right when Mars ingresses? Same thing that happened with Jupiter. Bam. He hits Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. So he is opposing Pluto retrograde in Aquarius at 0 degrees, 17 minutes. And I will tell you, hold on, we got more. Dude, we're just going to put the Six of Pentacles, we're just going to leave it on the board, because that's where we're at. We are just at Six of Pentacles right now. And then we have the Six of Cups. So 2 sixes have now come out. And I actually, in the Daily Dose this past weekend, did a whole, like, we talked about the number six. Number six had a huge impact over this weekend, from a numerological standpoint. So the Daily Dose got all of that information. Just going to throw that out there. It is definitely worth it to get into the Daily Dose. But we've got this Mars opposing Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. Hold on, I know there's more cards that want to come out. So let's get those, and then we'll talk about how important this is, because Mars has had quite the journey. The Page of Cups. Mars has had quite the journey over the last year, right? He had that huge 8-month stint in Gemini. He then had to get into Cancer and has been just wading the waters in Cancer. And now he is ready to get into Leo. But before he can get into Leo, it's a hard, like, pause, right? We're opposing Pluto here. We're kind of like getting in the ring with Pluto, opposite sides, like, all right, hey, what's happening? And this one is really important. Don't sleep on this, because Leo in its own right, Leo has a huge job. Leo has a big job coming up during Leo season. For all my Leos out there like me, hello. Love the Leo season. But Leo's got a big job. He's hosting Venus. He's hosting a Venus retrograde this year. So Leo's got this gigantic job, and Mars is coming in first. Mars is setting some sort of stage. Mars is like coming into like Leo over here and is like, hey, how do we make this really beautiful for Venus, right? Because he's been skinny dipping with Venus up in Cancer. And these are like the lovers, right? And he's got that emotional support right now for Venus. He wants her transit in Leo to be beautiful, to be everything that she wanted it to be. Everything that she wanted it to be, all full of this brand new, like really dreamy, really lovely emotional maturity, emotional intelligence. When we look at like the pleasure and the romance, that's all what Leo is about, right? It's this, the self-expression that she can give, the creativity that she can provide in here. And so don't sleep on what types of checks. Don't sleep on what types of checks Pluto is going to be given Mars. And it's almost like this conversation of, like, from Pluto's perspective, like, listen, fucker, Mars, I don't need you to go back. We ain't going back. We ain't falling into old timelines, right? We ain't falling into old timelines. We're not going to do that. We ain't going to do that. We've been there before. We know nothing happens back there. So what you learned, stay there. Stay in that power, because we need Mars to be Mars. We need Mars to be Mars. We need masculine to be masculine. We need that action in order, all of the things that are happening, all of this work we're doing. If Mars is not Mars, how are we going to take all of the abundance and all of the greatness that Jupiter is bringing in? How are we going to set and actually take action on those boundaries that Saturn and Pisces, this higher spiritual knowing and self, is going to bring in? How are we going to manipulate and work with all of the things that Uranus is changing in Taurus? There is just so much. All of the opening that Pluto, first off, Pluto retrograde going back into Capricorn. That means that there's still a lot of changes that are left undone. He's got some other things to transform there. And it just ain't going to be this time. There's more times to come of this. So we need Mars to be Mars. And all of the things that have changed, Mars is the one that has to do something with it. Mars is the one that has to take the action. And like, honestly, he can't be a bitch. Like, he cannot be a bitch. Like, that's just the end of the story. And this is that check. Call it a pep talk, little peppy talk from Pluto. That's what he's going to give them. And it's like, in this moment, when, especially this week, I really got this image like, whoa, look, all of the cards fell out. So we're just going to go ahead and, we got the Sun, we got the Three of Hearts, we've got Strength, we've got the Queen of Wands, we've got the Eight of Pentacles, the Tower, we've got the Five of Swords, we've got the Four of Swords. Like, there's just so much that, like, so much heard, so much. And wait, we even had more. We have the Three of Cups. We have the 9 of Swords. And we have the 7 of Pentacles. There is just so much going on right now. It's like our Super Bowl. It's our World Cup final. It's our Olympics. This is our life. All of that just fell out, that's all our life. And it's time to show up and show out. It's time to fucking win. It is time to win. Show up, show out, get into that Leo energy and allow Mars to thrive there in a healthy, high expression manner. And then the next day on the 21st, the sun ingresses into Gemini. It's Gemini season. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but guess what happens when the sun goes into Gemini? He trines Pluto right away. So I drop into Gemini, we get that breath of fresh air, and boom, Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is here to trine at 0 degrees, 16 minutes. And this is supportive. Trine's got that support to it. It's not like the check, like the opposition or a square. And it's really, I think, Pluto and the sun reminding us of all that is important. What's truly important as you begin to look at, like, how am I going to show up and show out? How am I going to win? Why is this all important? Why is it all important? And I love that the sun, like, just literally dropping into Gemini and hitting this trine with Pluto, it could be this like burning away. I'm seeing it as like literal, like fire, Icarus, burning away of old ways of thinking and communicating. You don't need it anymore. We know habits that you've been creating over this time span, over the last year, call it the start of the Gregorian calendar of 2023, whatever habits you've been working on. It could even be something as simple as you took the initiative, the start of eclipse season, whatever that is. This is the moment where you really feel the difference that they're making. You really get into what difference you're making in yourself, in the world around you, your universe. And it's like the old shit's just transformed. It's gone. And you see what it is doing for you. It's that moment where, you've been working out, and all of a sudden you've created these great habits of working out. And now instead of using 20 pounds, you're at the 35s. It's that moment. It's that scene of transformation. And then it's like Pluto asking, do you really need to do that right now? Right? Do you really need to spend the money to go on this trip? Do you really need to go to Austin for lunch? Do you really need to do all of these things? Like it's Pluto retrograde is going to question the sun in Gemini, who's now excited. We're in Gemini. We're doing all of the fun things, and like making sure in a very loving, in a very trineful way, making sure that, okay, all of these things are gone. Let's actually act different. Let's think different. Let's communicate different than we ever have before in this new higher version of self, in this new universe that you are creating for yourself. And then on the 22nd, we got no cards for that, by the way. We got a 2 of Cups that just kind of wanted to say hi. The 22nd, the sun in Gemini, there's your Gemini. The sun in Gemini will sextile Mars in Leo at 0 degrees, 55 minutes. And that is on the 22nd. So this is kind of like that, like, hey, Mars, what you doing? Are you loving this, Leo? Mars is like, yeah, but I just got checked by Pluto. So I'm here. I'm trying to figure this out. I'm trying to make sure the decisions that I'm making are right. And the sun's like, let me give you some sunshine. Let me love on you. Let me dry you off. You were just in Cancer. Let's dry you off. Let's get you energized. Let's do some jumping jacks. And I love you in my sign. The sun is the ruler of Leo, loves Mars in that sign, loves it. And how I saw this when I was feeling into it, the vision I got was like, this is that moment when the sun sextiles Mars in Leo, where like the tulip, the bulb of the tulip, like literally pops out of the ground and is just like, boop, and like finds the sun, and just the warmth just drips in. And it's the jump start that Mars needs. It's literally the jump start to get him going. And now it's go time. Here's what you need: express, create, move. And this sextile, like you could feel this building, but because of that Mars Pluto opposition, like it's not in typical times when Mars gets into Leo, it's not like drop in and go. It's like drop in, pause, and you may feel that energetic pause. And then the sun comes in and goes, okay, go. Here's your energy. Here's what you need to move. Here's express, create, do the things that you need to do. And then that rounds out our week. Little things. It's the little things are going on. It's not big things. It's just little things, right? Not massive transformation in any way, shape, or form.